Thank you. I'd like to thank you for the invitation and thank all of you for coming here today. It is absolutely stunning to see that the movement against the Cull is growing every day, and here we are proving it. We are not going to let them do this again. The licences for the current trials last for 4 years. They could start. We're going to stop them. Let's think about how we're going to stop them. Concentration on the cause of the problem is the next step. We have to look at what's happening in agriculture, and nobody can say it better than Simon King has already spoken about today. We're going to do that, but we've got to think about that deeper underlying change in values, and that's why I'm here, and that's why the Green Party's here, because we have to start seeing things differently. We have to understand that our wildlife is important. We must protect our countryside. We must stand up to the vested interests that are pushing this inhumane agenda. But let's think about why the government's doing what it's doing, and what are the impacts aside from the terrible destruction that's gone on with these badgers. Why are they doing it? They're doing it because they're cowardly, because they had to have something to hand to the farming lobby, and I mean the farming lobby. I don't mean day-to-day farmers, because I don't think the NFU really represents very many of them. I think the NFU is representing the large farming interests and the corporates. And I know farmers who are against the Cull. I know farmers who are in favour of the Cull. But I know that everybody wants to talk about a solution, and certainly the government needs to find a solution that's acceptable to the public. So they've chosen this out of cowardice. They've chosen it because to them it looks like an easy option. As well as being cowardly, they've been irresponsible. They thought that setting farmers and the countryside against bunny-hugging NIMBYs, they thought, that'll work. They want to back us into a corner where we'll lose. They think that we're not powerful enough to come back and stop them, but we are. They've adopted a policy that's divisive, and they've done it on purpose. And they've done it because they think they can grab some support, and they think that they can win. They've also done it because they're dishonest. Imagine the underlying dishonesty in the fact that this cull was taking place in order to assess the effectiveness, the humaneness, and the safety of killing badgers at night with guns. Effectiveness, well, we've seen it doesn't work. We knew it wouldn't work, and it doesn't. Humaneness, did they really need to do this to find out whether it was humane to be shooting an animal like a badger that's scared of human beings and runs at first sight or smell of a person in the dark? How could that possibly be humane? And as for whether it's safe, in whose world is it safe to have men roaming around the countryside with guns? I don't know. So they've been cowardly, they've been irresponsible, and they've been dishonest. And in terms of humaneness, they haven't finished yet. Let's think about what they're looking at next, because they have realised that shooting badgers in the night doesn't work. What are they looking at? They're thinking about gassing. Now, they used to gas badgers back in the 80s, and it was known then not to be humane, because badger sets are large and complex, and they don't have necessarily two entrances. You can put gas into a badger set and leave a pocket of air, so the badgers will go back into the back of their set. They'll be left in the air pocket. They'll be breathing concentrations of gas that might not kill them straight away, as if anybody who has done it cared. But they're still looking at gassing. They're looking at carbon monoxide. They're looking at carbon dioxide. They've done experiments on these gases to find out how humane it can be. And in their experiments, they've subjected animals to the vilest suffering, deliberately and observed them dying slowly. So we have to make sure that we stand firm and that we stop them doing this. And how are we going to do that? Well, we've got choices, haven't we? We can make our voices known to the government. We can have marches, we can go out, we can adopt practical actions, as so many of you are doing, and sign up for the vaccination. But we've got to think about, what does Owen Paterson do next? His trial has failed. I think resign might be appropriate, thank you. His trial has failed. He's got to make an announcement. Let's think about what we want him to announce. It would be brave, as opposed to cowardly, if he announced that he has to look at the underlying causes, he has to look at agriculture, he has to look at what can be done within the farming industry to improve biosecurity and to reduce transmission from cattle to cattle. He has to look at what can be done using vaccination of badgers, especially using all the qualified volunteers that are coming forward. And he has to look at doing what a government should do, which is to find a solution that's acceptable to the public. And that means us. So when he makes that announcement, he needs to say, I understand culling doesn't work. We tried it. It's a failure. We're going to try these other methods. We're going to listen to the public. We're not going to listen only to agribusiness. And my final words to Paterson and Eustace and the whole of the Tory Lib Dem coalition. You're behaving more like a Tea Party than a government. You are blocking the real solutions. You've scapegoated the poor badgers, you've blamed them, and now you're going to try and blame us. But actually, the blame lies in only one direction, as all the speakers have said. It's with the government. It's time for them to face up to their mistakes, do the U-turn that's been requested, and some resignations would be great as well. Thank you.